This is the biggest mistake that early activewear brands make, and most likely if you're starting your own brand, you're going to be making the same exact mistake. And what is this? This is chasing hype products or trendy products instead of focusing on core products. Think about it this way. Most people are building a house, and instead of focusing on the foundation, they're focusing on what color the throw pillow should be in their living room. You have to understand that you are putting an effort of the fringe 20% that 80% of people don't even want. What you want to focus on are the 20% of the products that are going to get you 80% of the market. And this is what focusing on core best-selling items means to your business. So how can you focus on core best-selling items, and what do those items look like for your specific brand? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be discussing in today's episode. My name is Shadi. I'm the co-founder and creative director of FittDesign, the world's first sportswear fashion design agency, and we help brands go from an idea to a physical product in under 30 days, and we've helped thousands of brands. So without further ado, let's get right into the episode. Number one is understanding the trend trap. You as a startup business are never going to have the resources necessary in order to preview what is going to be the next coming trend, especially as you're entering in the market for the first time. It doesn't mean that it can be done, but it means that as a core value add for your business, trend chasing is not going to be the way that you establish dominance in the market. Yes, you want to make sure that there's going to be a market that has demand and a market that is growing, but that may not necessarily mean that it is a trend. In general, in activewear, trends come and go, but ultimately, it's the core products that sell. So trends are unpredictable, they move fast, and by the time that you got in, you have to understand that the trend will already be finished. So what you can focus on are core items that sell year-round, that have proven demand. So where does this lead us? This leads us with a foundation-first strategy. And similar to how I've already outlined, if you were to build a house, you would focus on coming in and building a stable foundation of steel and concrete. That way, when you pour the cement, when you put up the walls, you really have something stable that you can be 100% confident in, as opposed to coming in and focusing on what color the wallpaper is. So when entering into any core business or any market in sportswear, look at your competitive brands. Look at what the core product offerings that they have on their website. If you look at a brand like Alo Yoga that is predominantly in the community-focused Pilates and yoga space, you're going to have sports bras, leggings. If you look at Lululemon, they're more in, again, the yoga and the wellness space, also a little bit in the running space. They're going to have shorts, they're going to have jackets, and they're going to have leggings. If you look at Bandit Running, for example, they have their running short, given that they're a community-focused running apparel brand. Those are products that have proven demand, that they can come into the market and they can confidently know that if they do it right, that they are going to sell. They're not coming in with a guess. They're innovating on products with proven demand and adding and stacking in USPs in order to make their products better. So this takes us to the strategy of focusing on best sellers first, and why simplicity is the key and the go-to as an early stage activewear brand. If you're a startup brand, you have to understand that you're not going to impress people with the level of complexity of your item. Yes, sure, if you're in an ultra niche part of the activewear or the sportswear space where you have a very fringe customer base that may require something specific, that might make sense. But for the majority of you, you can actually niche down but still focus on best selling apparel styles. What you need to do instead of focusing on the fringe details is focusing on the core details that you can do better than anyone else. Make sure that your product fit is supreme. It's the best in the industry. Make sure that the fabric feels phenomenal and that it holds up on time. Make sure that you ship fast and you take care of your customer. Make sure that your products don't necessarily go out of style, that they don't have cuts that are super out of style or super outdated. And make sure that your products are always restocked, especially when you have proven demand. If you look at Lululemon's early stages, they came out with a legging and a variety of sports bras. They knew that the yoga market needed these kinds of products, and they just took that core silhouette, which yoga instructors were already wearing in some shape or some form or another, and they made it the best they can be through the fit, the fabric, and the overall customer experience. They did not come in there and try to innovate in ways that were super fringe. They innovated in ways that made sense for the core consumer demographic, and they hit the lowest hanging fruit first, and they did it better than anyone else. Sure, at Lululemon's time, there was not as much competition. So focusing on those low-hanging fruit was theoretically much more of a no-brainer than it is right now. But you still have opportunities to come into your market and to offer something different. I'll give you an example. Let's just say you're a regional-based player. Focus on creating products that don't already exist in the market, or if they do exist in the market, maybe exist with international players that may not be able to ship as fast. Or if they do exist in the local market, maybe the quality isn't there, maybe the fit isn't there. There's always a USP or a USP stack that you can add in order to improve your product offering that regional players or your local competitors are not able to offer. So how to identify core products for your brand? Number one is establish a brand or a company profile for your business, and then look at look-alike brands. So let's just say you know for a fact that you tend to serve the same niche of customer or the same customer avatar as Aloe. It's easier to go on to brands like Aloe and look at not their newest arrivals, although those are great to give you a thought process on where this brand is at this current stage, but look at their best sellers, look at their sold out styles. You can use scraping tools, or you can use ChatGPT to do deep research on what those styles are and cross-reference them to make sure that these are what your customer profile or your customer avatar would actually wear. Does this product solve a real problem that applies to your niche? Can this product be a part of someone's daily routine if they fit the customer profile that you have set? Can this product be something that a customer would buy in more than one color, especially if it's a core product? If the answers to all of these questions is a resounding yes, then you have step 3, which means build your fit or make it your own and build your audience around it. So find the product, make it your own, and align it with your messaging. If your brand is about sustainable wellness, then the fabric that you pick and the marketing and the messaging that you have around that brand should now match. So you look at where your brand differs from the target brand that you're looking at, and then you stack your USPs in order to accelerate above the competition. And that's how you take proven styles, and that's how you give your own spin on them in a way that maximizes your leverage and minimizes your risk. Now that you've identified your core products, how do you make them your own? And how do you make them, let's just say, trendy without getting overly caught up in the trends? How do you make them unique and different without getting overly caught up in the idea of trend-focused design? And this just means that core doesn't necessarily need to mean boring. You can still infuse your brand aesthetic and your brand values without chasing that necessary trend. So number one is going to be use branding strategically. If your brand is all about loud, aggressive, maximalist branding, then that's how you end up branding that product. If your brand is all about minimalistic branding, then that's how you infuse your take on it. If your brand is all about sustainability, then the fabric that you might pick, the packaging that you might pick will also align. If your brand is all about durability and ruggedness, then you might even develop your own fabric that will match that. Again, a great example of that is the Lululemon Luon fabric. At the time, there was no such thing as a fabric that didn't pill, that didn't shear, that shape retained, and that just looked and felt great. So they created it. This is an opportunity that you need to take. It's a core silhouette like a legging, but you make it your own with the fabric. You also want to stick to timeless colorways when you're launching for the first time. Do not guess what customers want. They've already told you what they want through years and years and quarters upon quarters of data, right? It's going to be your core colorways, your blacks, your whites, your beiges, your navies, your olive greens. These are the colors that tend to perform well. And of course, make sure that they make sense for your target market and for the type of product you're creating. Just because white is a great color, it may not necessarily make sense for a legging or a woman's legging that's going to be used in high intensity interval training. What actually happens when you focus on the right places? Before I answer that, I'll say, if you are looking to build your entire brand from scratch and design and develop and go from an idea to a physical product in your hands in under 30 days, you can apply to get a quote from us on whatever product you're looking to build from a manufacturing and design perspective. You can check the link below. So getting back into it, when you build the products the right way, you stop wasting time on guessing on what customers want. You stop wasting resources and effort on coming out with styles that are not proven and don't have proven demand. 2, you know that these are things that customers will come back for time and time again because they have shown in the data that these are core items that tend to be bought season upon season in different colors. 3, your manufacturing gets simpler because you have fewer SKUs that are generating more of the profits. Some of the biggest brands, and you'll notice this, carry these same SKUs season after season. And yes, of course, as you scale your business, you need to introduce novelty, you need to introduce innovation. And that is 100% a great way to scale and to stay relevant. But you'll notice that the majority of their sales tend to be around bestsellers. These are the products that get customers through the door. 4, your visuals become more cohesive. You end up understanding what products you're creating as opposed to coming out with a catalog quarter on quarter that looks completely different from the rest. And your brand becomes recognizable faster. People know what your brand is, what it stands for, and what products you have to offer, which makes it easier to spread word of mouth. So suddenly you're no longer chasing trends. You actually become the trend in a sense. You become the go-to brand for great quality leggings, just as Lululemon is for yoga leggings or Nike is for running shorts. So if you're serious about building a brand that's going to be relevant in 5 years, build it on customers that can wear products or products that customers can wear weekly. Build it on products that customers can buy in multiple colors and they'd be more than happy to come back and buy multiple colors up. Build it on products that look just as good today as they will in 2 years, in 5 years. That is ultimately how you go from focusing on designing your house with the throw pillows as the first thing you think of to designing your house with a concrete foundation in mind that's going to withstand any storm, any hurricane, and anything that Mother Nature can throw its way.